walk me through the process of actually launching the restaurant. Like, tell me about like finding the location. You know how paperwork works. Like, a lot of people want to understand that. Like, what is the process from going to we got the name in the inception to what you guys just have there now?
I have to give a lot of credit to my partner, Martin. There was about a year and a half ago now. We both of us were just sitting at Soho House with some mutual friends, and it was kind of off the cuff. And it was like, yeah, we should do something like this. And it started as a general conversation, and then kind of see where it goes. And I've done this several times before, and most of the time it doesn't work out. And I kind of took it with a grain of salt, and I didn't walk away from that meeting like, yeah, we're opening a restaurant. We didn't know if it was going to be West Loop, River North, and you kind of got to go with the flow and see what opportunity presents itself. And we looked at a couple places in West Loop. Of course, in West Loop, every single available space has already been looked at by 10, 15 different restaurant groups. When we found our space, everyone that we talked to was, when we heard that when people in the industry heard that we were looking at that space, they're like, oh, we know the landlord over there, old school guy. No way it's going to work out for you guys. He's a pain in the ass.
Really?
We found out later on that he chased out probably 10 of the best restaurant groups. And when I say 10, it's probably more than 10. Like, I'm not even exaggerating at 10.
Wow.
10 plus of the best restaurant groups have tried to get in and get our space.
Wow.
And everyone blamed, a real pain in the ass landlord, someone who was old school, who was unwilling to work with everybody. And we're like, okay, well, we're still going to go through the process. Even though we met all the qualifications on paper, of course, because otherwise we wouldn't be there. Everyone else probably looked 5 times better than we did, than Martin and I did. Once I remember right when the landlord came up, he was in an old school kind of Blackhawks jacket from the 80s. He had a little Italian flag patch on his Blackhawks jacket. We had a bunch of guys in suits, big shot brokers, and everyone's out there trying to make a buck, and we're talking about a big money deal. And there was a point where Martin and I was like, yo, just get everybody out of this room. Like, and I kind of looked at the brokers and everything, and I said, in order to get this deal done, everybody in a suit leave. Like, let me talk to this guy. This guy is an old school Chicago guy. We are cut from the same cloth. Let me be real with him. And for him, it was just, he grew up in that building. That's his family's building. It's a landmark building. His family's been on the block from well before the meatpacking days.
Wow.
And he doesn't want some big shots coming in with millions of dollars saying, this is what I'm going to do with your building because I'm spending millions of dollars. Instead, he was like, okay, these are some young kids that appreciate this opportunity. These are some young guys that I can get behind and be part of their story. And that really meant a lot to me. And after our first kind of walkthrough, 2 days later, he's at my family property. I'm sharing him, the story and the sentimental value of my family's property. If someone came in and offered us twice what the property's worth, my dad probably still wouldn't sell it because of that sentimental value. And a lot of people don't understand that. Well, look at the comparable real estate in the area. I'm not going to offer you a penny over this. Well, good for you and your business strategy. But F you, keep walking, because there's a certain emotion that's attached to this property. And I think that Martin and I were able to captivate that with our landlord. And then upon signing the lease, anybody in the restaurant industry is like, how the hell did these 2 kids get this space?
Wow.
Yeah. Because honestly, like, we probably shouldn't have. But it was the right time, the right people. I've tried to push so many other deals in the past that might have looked better on paper, but then didn't work out at the end. And it's just like a relationship, right? Like, if you go out to the bar and you're like, I need to find a girl tonight and I'm going to take a girl on a date, like, it's probably not going to work out. It's when you're not looking for love that love comes and hits you and blindsides you, and then changes your aspect. And that's the same thing I've learned, with business after trying to force so many things and being almost too aggressive and too ambitious. After you've taken some L's and you learn your lessons and failures over time, you realize things have to happen naturally. It has to happen for a reason. It has to progress in a certain way that is natural. And, without Martin and I, forcing a triangle into a circle hole, it kind of happened naturally. And this was the spot for us. It was meant to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, the lessons there of just people when they want to launch something where it's like, oh, I don't know if I could do that because X, Y, and Z business is doing that. Or, oh, I don't know if I want to launch a water company because look at Dasani and Fiji and all these companies. And then you guys came in and you got really scrappy and took a different approach. And, you know, everything in life comes down to a sale and being able to sell yourself to this guy. And like that's so I don't know how many people know that story, but that's quite impressive.
Yeah, probably unless of the people unless the brokers that were in that room, nobody really knows that story.
Well, so shout out to you for kind of telling us that, because there's so many lessons in that, man. Honest to God, it's like there's so much there that you can take from, especially like two kids looking to launch this, and this guy he shut down like $1 million groups because that's the hottest location right there. You guys have the best location.
That you know, we have 2 storefronts. One of the storefronts was available for 4 or 5 years. One storefront was available for 12 years. And literally this guy just said no for 12 years.
Wow.
To God knows how many people.
Wow.
And literally, if you sat here and said, I'm going to give you $20 million to literally open a restaurant in any place in the city, and I could just literally pick my premier location and specific real estate plot, I can't say that I would pick a different plot than where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's hard to say it wasn't meant to be. I don't want to be cliche like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you have to let things happen naturally.
Yeah. And I think it's, you know, the staple in Chicago has become, because the location is fairly adjacent to Soho House. And it's like, I see this rotation of people in Chicago, a lot of podcast listeners too, where it's like Soho House and Gino's, like those are the 2 staples. But the reason I mentioned that it's so cool because you see a conglomerate like Soho House, that however many billions they're worth, to now have your guys' name in that discussion. Those are 2 kids taking a bet on yourselves to go launch that. Because what if you guys didn't do that and it didn't, like, then that would never be in the vocabulary together. But you guys took the risk and actually did that. So that's just, it's insane.